Coming up next on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast.
People think they want to do this, and anytime I've had a cleaner is like, load me up, I need more time. 2 weeks later, they're, crying because they're just like broken.
From your first dollar to your first million, welcome to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, presented by ZenMaid. Join your host, Stephanie Pipkin, founder of Serene Clean, as she shares proven tips, tricks, and hard-earned lessons. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, get ready to discover how to build your own cleaning empire. Let's roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Pipkin, and today's guest is Kate Croukamp, and she is the owner of Clean Like a Pro cleaning services over in Australia. Well, not over there for her, over there for us Americans. So I know we have an Australian audience, so I'm glad that you are joining us, Kate. I really appreciate your time today and waking up, not too early for you, but 7 a.m. for you to meet with me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be a guest on your podcast, and not too early. My kids are up. It's a normal school rush, although hubby's taking care of that this morning. So
Very nice. And you've been in business for a dang long time when it comes to the cleaning business. So I'd love to hear your background. What were you doing before? What prompted you to get into the cleaning industry?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, a very long time. This year is 17 years, and that makes me feel really old. But prior to that, my husband Jack and I used to work for Emirates. So we lived in Dubai, and we worked for Emirates for me 6 years, him 10. Now I feel really old. And when and I came back to Australia. And because he's South African, we came back to Australia. Mm-hmm. My parents had a cleaning business and they wanted to step out of it. So we took it over. So it was a cleaning business that was already existing, but they only did carpet cleaning and pest control, which we still do today, but we took it over and we basically have had it ever since, and it's just evolved over that time. Lots of highs, lots of lows in that amount of time, and lots of times when we've wanted to walk away from it, but I'm grateful for today that we never did, but also we never envisaged where we are now all those years ago. It was just not even on our radar. And so that's how we got into the cleaning industry. A little bit by default. We didn't want to go back into the airlines when we came back to Australia. We wanted something that could be flexible around, having kids one day. And we thought, well, why not step into a business that's already doing really well and take it from there?
How large, that's very impressive. Quite a transition for both of you from a career standpoint. How large was the business when you took it over from your parents? I'm just curious.
Look, it wasn't a huge business. It was a couple of employees and my mum and dad. So it was very much owner-operator, which is to a degree still like that today for a number of reasons. And so we were very hands-on, especially Jack in the beginning. It was more so him stepping into the business. I was still working in travel, and then it started to grow from there, and then I came into the business. We added more services and employed some more staff and just grew it from there.
I gotcha. So when it comes to like the split in the beginning versus now, when it comes to, you have very different services than anything I've experienced when it comes to like the pest control stuff. It's very intriguing to me, but I love the idea because then you can sell to the same people and get more revenue from the same clients, which is wonderful, and provide a valuable service. How much was it? 50-50? Was one really strong and the other one not so much? Or what did that look like?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was carpet cleaning and pest control. And the reason for that is in Australia, when somebody vacates a rental property, by law, they have to get a professional carpet cleaner in to do the carpets, and they have to get, it's changed a little bit now. If they've had a pet, a dog or a cat or a bird, they have to have a flea treatment done by law. Or a general pest control. So generally that's in a tenant's lease. So back when we started, carpet cleaning and pest control was really busy because tenants needed to have that service done when they vacated. So we very much catered to people moving out of a rental property. Not so much everyday general cleaning, and we still don't today. So that we started to add move out cleans on top of the carpet cleaning and pest control. So it's a one-stop shop basically. So the tenants have to get the carpets and pests done anyway. A lot of people don't want to do their own move out cleans. It's very strict in Australia. When you move out, the agent will come in and do an inspection to check that the house has been cleaned, carpet cleaned and pest controlled up to the standard that it was when the tenant moved in. And again, this is like,
wow, I'm so jealous. I wish we had those like laws, especially when it comes to the pest control, because we've walked into do a move out and the whole, flea ridden or whatever. It's terrible.
And it still happens to a degree here, but there are laws in place where the owner is responsible for making sure things like that, are fine for the next tenant moving in. So there's definitely laws in place for the tenant and for the owner and the agent to make sure that, when the property is being handed over to the next tenant, they're moving into a house that they can live in. It doesn't always happen. There's agents and owners who don't follow, that system, but generally that is what needs to be done. Tenants can do their own cleans. It's not, they're not required to get a professional in to do it, but a lot of people don't want to do their own move out cleans.
For sure. And move outs are very labor intensive, as all of our listeners know. And I mean, it's so much more, and it's so funny how many clients have the perception that it's going to be faster because they don't have any belongings in it. And it's like, no, it's going to be like twice as long.
Because then you move everything and you're like, oh, that's where everything went.
We've had definitely some client horror stories when it comes to move outs of people leaving stuff behind, and then we have to figure out what to do with it, or being accused of stealing things because just all sorts of random things. Can anything stand out to you of like people being crazy, or one of the landlords? Do you call them landlords over there? Where they're okay.
Yeah, we call them landlords. So often there's an agent that is in between the tenant and the landlord. Sometimes, you do, if the landlord is renting direct to the tenant, then that's a direct relationship. But I'd say 80% of the time there's a property manager or agent who's in between. So you're not dealing direct with the landlord. But we come across, because that's what we specialize in, that's all we do, is we do a bit of commercial cleaning, is move out cleans. So there is a massive misconception that it's just a quick wipe over, or it's not that dirty. As soon as we hear those words, then we jack the price up.
It's so funny. Across the world, this is the joke that we make. It's like our version of a dad joke. Like, tack on 7 hours when they say it just needs a quick wipe down.
So, because with a move out clean, it's not a superficial clean. It's a deep clean. So there's areas that have to be cleaned that they've probably never touched. Things like windows and tracks and, the things you don't normally clean day to day. So that always makes us laugh when we get, people ringing up and asking for quotes, and they use language like that. But we do see a lot of people who, run out of time, and they'll just leave a lot of stuff in the house, and they're over it. They're over the whole process of moving, and they've just like, I don't care, just do whatever you want with it. And some things are like, perfectly fine. That printers and
the cleaners get printers.
electronic things, and it's just like, okay. So I think moving is like the third most stressful life event there is after divorce and the death of a family member. So by the time, you know, people are just stressed, and that's where, you know, we decided that's what we want to specialize in, because it's such a stressful time for people. And we can do everything one stop. You don't need to try and, you know, liaise with different trades to do different services. And because where we are on the Gold Coast, it's a growing city, and it's quite transient as well. So there's a lot of people moving in and out.
We're in one of our locations that we have a military base. So there's a ton of off-base military housing that they have, like, these checklists. I mean, literally the inspector's like, you are going to fail our inspection. And I mean, like, we are super picky, and still there'll be a mark on the ceiling, and they'll be like, come back. It's just,
we get that too.
Even further.
So, you know, there'll be, you know, what we call callbacks, and like, we guarantee our bond cleans, but also not everything is cleanable. Some things is maintenance, and it's beyond the scope of what us as the cleaners are responsible for. And you will get some agents or landlords who try and pin it on the cleaner, or say that it's the cleaner's responsibility, when it's really not. So in the beginning, we used to, you know, get taken advantage of a lot because we were too scared to dispute anything. But now, after all these years, we're very firm, and we don't get taken advantage of like we used to. And I think that just comes with time, you know, knowing, you know, your job, what you're responsible for, and not being afraid to speak up when, you know, two agents in particular, property managers, who perhaps will try and, you know, get you as the cleaner to, I don't know, patch walls or
no, for real. I've given the example of, like, because I'm a yes man, like, was having my cleaners literally do, like, patching paint in apartment. So no more of that. But I would love to hear, just for our friends listening, like, I'm sure they hear that and they say, like, okay, that sounds great, meaning standing up for yourself. What are the exact ways that you do protect yourself or set those, like, boundaries? Like, is that in client guidelines? Is it in a conversation? And what kind of things do you say to being firm but also professional friendly, to not, you know, come across like an asshole, frankly?
Exactly. So we're very clear with our terms and conditions. So it's on our website. When we provide quotes, we highlight our terms and conditions in the quote. We make sure that the client is reading that. So we work directly, mostly with tenants rather than agents, property managers. We used to do a lot of work for property managers, but we decided it was better for us to go direct to the client, the tenant, and that's worked best for us. And we just make sure that they're very aware of our terms and conditions. We don't hide it. We don't make it something they have to go and search for. We put it right there in their quote, so they're aware. And that also, so that covers our cancellation policy. So we take deposits. We never used to take deposits, and we used to get stood up all the time. And that's devastating when you've blocked a whole day and you've got, 5 staff standing there and you get stood up. So, and that's because we never took deposits. Again, we were scared because we thought a deposit would turn the customer off. They wouldn't want to pay a deposit. But what it's done is it's actually made our customer base, our client base, respect us more as business owners. It's given them peace of mind that we're actually going to turn up. And it's, I suppose, got rid of the clients we ultimately don't want, who potentially would stand us up on the day. So it's just, as long as we presented ourselves professionally, we gave quotes professionally, our terms and conditions were clear, that we've had no hesitation in clients paying a deposit when they're booking a move-out clean with carpets and pests, because that's a full day's work that, we have to have staff come in for. So prior to taking deposits, we would often turn up and either the tenant's not there to let us in, they've already done the job, they've booked somebody else and forgot to cancel us, or they didn't like the price because the price went up because of the condition of the house we walked into. So we've said, well, it's going to cost more, and they've said, no, I'm not paying it, bye-bye. So deposits has been a game changer for us in our business. We don't have anybody ever do that to us anymore. So now when we know we're turning up to a job, we're there to do a job. We're not possibly being sent away for whatever reason. And then the same with our balance payment is we take that before we start cleaning.
Oh, okay. So yeah, then you charge flat rate from the sounds of it then.
Well, we give estimates. So what we do is, because the traffic on the Gold Coast is really bad, so to constantly be doing quotes on the Gold Coast, you would never get any work done if that's all we did, because it could take 1 hour each way to go and do a quote for a move out clean. So we give estimates based on the size. We look at the property online. We go to like real estate in Australia, we have realestate.com.au, where generally you can see pictures of the house, the inside, floor plans. We have a look at it and we give an estimate on what that's going to cost. And it's very detailed as to what the clean is going to include and what it doesn't. We pretty much do everything anyway. When we arrive, that's when we finalise the price, when we arrive to do the job. So clients will pay a deposit, we'll arrive, we'll do our walkthrough, look at the condition of the property, and if it's not overly dirty, then it will stay within that guide price that we provided. If it's really clean, the price could actually fall below the estimates that we gave.
That's very fair of you, and also that builds a lot of trust, especially if you do work with reoccurring, property managers or something like that, for sure. Kate, I'm going to let my kitty out real quick because she is just scratching at the door.
It's okay.
Get out of here. Here you go.
She'll be scratching
at it to get in.
Yeah. She'll be back there soon.
I know. I usually just leave my door cracked, but Kylan's gonna edit all this out. But it's so all I can hear is just like her scratching back there. I don't know if you have pets, but
I've got a cat. I know exactly. Yeah. They don't like closed doors.
They don't, and it's like a power dynamic. I swear, because now. Like, if that was cracked, there would nothing. But now it's just like, oh, it's closed. Yeah. They run the show for sure. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so let me think. Pricing.
We take our final payment before we start, basically, or when we arrive. Yeah.
Wow, that's a really good tip for people, because I think that, so for us, we charge hourly on those just because like you, we don't go look at any residential before we go clean it, because of what you just described. You lose so much. And I know a lot of our listeners are probably still doing in-house estimates, which is useful, I think, especially in the beginning, so that you can get a feel, also kind of practice your muscle of sales, walkthroughs, that type of thing. But what would you suggest for them to transition away from that? I mean, looking up the houses. I always say production rate audits, like see how long you clean. Is there anything else that comes to mind to help people get away from those in-person estimates?
So it does come with time. Look, if there's a house that's not like a standard size house, we will go and quote that up in person. For example, if it's like, there's a lot of big houses on the Gold Coast, mansions, and it's just impossible to quote that by looking at a floor plan. We really do need to go and have a walkthrough of these bigger houses. But then there's also a lot of houses that, I could walk through them with my eyes closed. They're the same house, just painted a different color. So, and that's what the bulk of our jobs are. And eventually you just get to know that's what it's going to cost. And that's how long it takes our team, to do a clean that size. And we don't, when we give an estimate, it's between this and this. So there's a little bit of room there.
That's what we do too, is like that range, because it gives you that wiggle room.
Yeah. So it's not like we're saying it's $600. It's going to be between this price and this price, and that's based on average soiling. If it's very clean or very unclean, the price could fall outside of this guide price. It's just practice. Again, this is 17 years we've been in our business. We have underquoted so many jobs that we've learnt our lesson, that not to go in cheap. There's no benefit going in cheap just to get the job. You will kill yourself, you will kill your body, and there's no longevity in doing that. It's never a good idea to be the cheapest cleaner in your town.
Yes.
It's the worst strategy you could ever have. If anything, I would say it actually, in the mind of the customer, it really puts doubt in their mind as to your level of service and abilities if you are the cheapest. So when you price yourself right and you're not afraid to say your price and you're very confident in your price, then you will attract the right type of client to you, the client who respects you and your time and the job that you are going to deliver. There's always going to be people who want your services from all price ranges, so why not go for the category of clients who are willing to pay what you're worth?
So true. That race to the bottom is never one you want to win. And honestly, when you think of it from a math perspective, I would much rather have 10 clients who I make the same amount of money as 20 clients. That's 10 less people I have to deal with and possible issues. So like the most money that we can get out of the fewest number of clients is actually the ideal, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And there will always be people who are willing to pay more for peace of mind, for quality work. Like I know when I am looking for something in particular, I don't go for the cheapest. I never go for the cheapest quote. I always will shop around, and it's more than just the price for me. And it is true, we hear it all the time, you get what you pay for, and cleaning is probably the one industry where you definitely get what you pay for. So, and even when you're starting out and you're quoting clients and you want to try and get a client base up, I also don't think you should be cutting your prices, because that sets the tone for your business from there on in. What's going to happen with those original clients that you have, that you're charging below what you should be, when you start to say my prices have gone up? You're going to upset a whole group of people. They're then going to potentially talk bad about you because you've upped your price. So it's better off just starting at the price you want to maintain.
Yeah. And I think that, it's so hard because you don't feel, that's where, doing free cleans or practice cleans are better, in my opinion, than going cheap, because then there's no pressure and you can get a lot of great marketing resources out of that, whether that be video testimonial or review or whatever, or just that great word of mouth because their expectation isn't as high. But I like what you just said, like I literally can see the clients' faces, because when I opened, I started at $30 an hour. We're at $55 per man hour now in rural Wisconsin. So I don't know what that would relate to in Australian dollars. But the ones that started at 30, they stuck, I think the longest I had them was for 4 years. Like the longest client that I had from that beginning time, who was at 30 originally, I got them up to, I think, 45, and 0 of them are with us anymore, because in their perspective, they perceive me as too big for my britches, and this is worth it. It was worth it then. Whereas now, other clients are coming in at 55, so it's $10 an hour higher than the highest I made them, and they have nothing to compare it to. To them, this is the cheapest price they've ever paid. So it really is a perception thing, and you're teaching them what they should value.
Yes, absolutely. And it's, a perfect example of pricing is when you go into, I don't know what it's like in the States, but like Facebook community pages, or Facebook community groups. And somebody will ask in the local community, I'm looking for a cleaner. I'm looking for an amazing cleaner.
The best cleaner in the world.
Yeah, that isn't expensive or is blah, blah, blah. You know, I think they must have, there's a message, cut and paste message that it's for the community pages. But then you will see all these cleaners in the comments all like vying for this client. Whereas I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere near that client because that whole post is a red flag to me. It's, they want the best, but they want to pay minimum. Where they dictate how long the job should take. It should only take you 2 hours. So by whose standard?
Yeah, anytime they say how long, okay, this isn't going to work. You're a walking red flag, because who are you to tell a professional how long it's going to take?
My last cleaner only cost me this much. These are the things that should instantly be, I'm not interested in trying to get this client. Like, what happened to your last cleaner?
Yep.
Why are they no longer working for you? So, we almost have to interview the client as much as they have to interview us.
It's a mutually beneficial relationship, and honestly, otherwise it's this weird power dynamic of like they get to lord over you. It's like, no, you get to make that decision if you want to work with them too. And I know, especially in the beginning, it's easier said than done, and we all took jobs that we absolutely should have not, because we're like, oh, a job, somebody wants us, like, yes.
And that's okay, okay. Like, we've done that so many times, and there's nothing wrong with that. We learn, that's how we learn.
Yes.
And we go, okay, well, I'm not going to make those same mistakes again. And for us, one of the biggest mistakes that we were making quite a lot in the beginning was the not taking deposits and not getting the final balance when we start. So we would be left in a vacant house, not knowing where the tenants have moved to.
Oh, you're right, because they're gone. Those are the most risky ones.
We don't know. They're not coming back to pay. We can't undo the cleaning. We're there in a beautifully sparkling
like go
vacant
find
house.
Their new house and just trash it. Like, here's your dirt bag.
And they won't answer their phone, and they're gone. They're happy. They've moved on, and we've just spent 5 of us a whole day on our hands and knees scrubbing. And we don't have the payment.
Oh, so that's painful.
That is really heart-wrenching when you have worked your backside off and the tenant has just disappeared off the face of the earth. And, so that happened to us, enough times in the beginning where we had to be really firm with our payment arrangements. And this is why we're really clear about it when we quote. And when they pay the deposit, we reiterate that final payment, the deposit terms, like it's overkill in the beginning. Because we don't want to get to their house to get their final balance before we start and there be any disputes. They know exactly what they're signing up for, and it's just smooth sailing from there. They can't then say, well, you didn't tell me. So having really clear terms and conditions, your guarantees, everything like that will save your backside and just avoid any heartache during that whole process of working with that client.
I'm just also just switching gears a little bit, because I am intrigued about your process of managing the different sections of your services. Let's say we have a move out clean and they want you to carpet clean, they want you to do pest control, and they want you to clean. Logistically speaking, with your team. Can you run through me? What order? How do you handle that?
Yep.
Is that the same team that does how do you do this?
Yeah. So it's the same team. So basically, with a move out clean, carpets and pest, the clean always starts first. Mm-hmm. So we will go in, so the team will go in, they will do the clean, and what we would do is, depending on the day, if it's super busy, we will ask them to make sure that the carpeted rooms are cleaned first. So then the carpet cleaning can be done in those rooms, and we don't have to go back in there. And so things like, making sure the fans and the air cons, the walls, the windows, the tracks, the robes, fully vacuumed, that's all done in the carpeted rooms. And then if we have to do the carpets, earlier before the end of the day, those rooms are ready to go. And
so interesting. Because like when we clean, it's always, the wet rooms first, where like you have to do the exact opposite, it sounds like.
Well, because we'll have generally four people at a job, we will have people doing the bathrooms. Okay. So everyone kind of has their own areas. And with the move out cleans, we try not to have our team there for longer than 6 hours each, because it's so labor intensive.
Yep, hard.
That after 6 hours, your body you're done. So that's why we tend to have at least for a standard, say 4-bed 2-bath house, we will try to have at least 4 people there. So everybody has their areas. One could be in a bathroom, one could be in the kitchen, and one could be in those carpeted rooms, getting those cleaned out. Vacuuming is a big thing. When we start, we will vacuum everywhere before we start spraying any type of chemical. So the bathrooms, the kitchens are fully vacuumed to remove hair, dust, crumbs, anything like that.
So you're not making a wet mess, basically.
That's right, because if you don't, trying to clean spray when you've got hair and everything is just takes twice as long. So the vacuuming we'll have 2 vacuums going as soon as we walk in the door. So one person's vacuuming bathrooms, another's vacuuming kitchens, and then they'll move on to vacuuming the carpeted rooms.
Sure.
So we don't start, spraying any chemicals until a vacuum's done. Things like, one person will be doing the high dusting, the fans and the air cons. So we do try to start high. If we need to get the carpet cleaning done earlier in the day, that's when we'll get somebody into those carpeted rooms to get them done. But otherwise, it's very much like you say, starting with wet areas, but a really thorough vacuum. And the pest or the flea treatment, if there's been pets there, that's the very last thing that you do.
So what if there's evidence of like an actual infestation? Does that throw off the entire day? Because you can't have your cleaners in there, can you? Like, what do you do?
We actually walked out of a job earlier this week because it was infested and with fleas. They were actually jumping on
We've had
legs.
that jumping on our cleaners, yep.
Yeah, so, that's, yes, we do flea treatments, but that's a whole other level. That requires a process. Not just a basic vacate flea treatment.
I've never thought about that. Of like, for us, we would say that you call the only reason you get a flea treatment is if there's an active infestation. So this is such an interesting concept that like everything's treated regardless, and you're going in with the expectation that there is not active fleas, like, or at least there's not like hatched and jumping around fleas that you can see. So it's so intriguing of like, then yes, you'd need an exterminator. And so again, I'm assuming you explain all of this thoroughly. Do you still charge them that down payment to cover your lost time or cancellation fee, or what is that?
It doesn't happen very often. So like the situation that happened this week, we've not had that for a long time. So we just refunded their deposit because we just said, listen, this needs to be taken care of first. And that's something that then probably even needs to be handed back to the agent to deal with. because yes, we're licensed pest controllers, but this requires a full process of
time,
like it's
multiple days.
Treatments, multiple treatments, sealing up the whole house, and putting what they call like pest bombs, or like depending on what it is, the situation, fleas or general pest control. Like a big thing is a cockroach infestation. So once German cockroaches, they're these tiny little pale cockroaches, and once they take hold of a house, that's stubborn. A huge job, and that's a vacate little pest control is not going to fix that problem. I mean, these cockroaches will get into your dishwasher, into your toasters, into your anywhere they can squeeze, like into your cabinetry. They will come out of everywhere. So that's when you need to get like a proper process of elimination to treat infestations. The flea treatments in Australia, when someone vacates, if they've had a pet, it's a preventative measure to avoid things getting out of hand like that.
They were, because I think, what is it, the hatch cycles, like, I just had to deal with fleas. When I moved to Savannah, which is in the south of the U.S., like, the fleas here are impervious to normal things because they don't die. There's no winter, like, up north. And so the first year I was down here, I could not believe it. I threw everything in the kitchen sink at them, and it was so embarrassing because I couldn't get rid of these fleas in my house because my dog would bring them in, and then my cat would get them. So it is very stubborn, and like then even if you kill the active ones, there's still that hatching cycle. So
there is, so it's a bit of a nightmare, and I think the whole reason behind having these vacate pests and flea treatments is to try to avoid. Because we live in a very humid part of Australia. It's very hot here. So I think it's to try and avoid issues like that getting out of hand and it just completely taking over a property.
Yeah. So your cleaners, I guess when I first heard of what you did, I envisioned you would have like a carpet cleaning technician or the treatment technician, but this is truly one and the same, your cleaners. They all know how to do this.
Yeah, well, Jack, my husband, so he does carpet, upholstery, mattress cleaning, the whole lot. So he does that, but when we're really busy, we will also bring in someone else to help with that too. But and he's also licensed pest controller. So you need a license to do pest control in Australia. And again, if we're really busy, we have another licensed pest controller that we can use also. But we our cleaners don't do the carpets. It's Jack or another actual technician who will do the carpet cleaning. That makes sense.
Because like, gosh, that's a lot for like you said, the 6 hours, and then it's a lot. So okay. Do you run employees or independent contractors?
We have employees.
Okay,
so,
got it.
Again,
I was curious if there was a benefit. To IC
we had contractors in the start again for many years, but we found that having an employee set up was much better for our business, much better for the cleaner. It was just a better arrangement than contracting. Plus, there's a lot of laws in place in Australia around contractors. If they're working for you a lot, then they should be employees, not contractors. So. So we now, all of our staff are employees.
Okay. Yeah. And all of our listeners know I'm a fan of employees. I've never had an IC, but there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, as I say. But it really, I'm so happy you said it really is region dependent. I just had a consulting call yesterday with a wonderful lady who was in California. She moved to Texas and her business, and the laws, and like, you can't have ICs pretty much in California because like the whole state was like, no, everybody's doing illegal things with ICs, where they're running them. And I think it was because of Uber, actually, like they were running, them as ICs, but truly treating them like employees and no benefits. So that's good to hear. I'm trying to think like now I'm thinking about their availability and scheduling, considering your, like, say you do a lot of move outs. How many per week would you put on a cleaner? Because I know for our team, they get really worn down by move outs, and they'll actually request like no more than 2 a week or whatever. Do you have that issue?
So we will very rarely, generally we'll have one move out clean in a day. We won't have two. So it's
that'd be way a lot.
No. Yeah. So, and again, like we've had heard other businesses who will have multiple we call them bond cleans here, multiple move out cleans in a day. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they would do it. Like my cleaners would quit if I made them do 2 ovens in a day.
So we will have one a day. Like this week we've had 4 move out cleans, all with carpet cleaning or with pest control. This is why we'll have 4 cleaners minimum
that makes sense.
At a job, because we need to spread those hours amongst the team, so they're not going over the 6 hours. And often it could be 4 or 5 hours, which is fine. And if it's a bigger property, then we'll possibly have five people on the job. If it's a really big job, it may spill into the next day.
Okay.
So, we're really aware how physically taxing it is, these move out cleans, and but again, like some weeks could be quiet, it could be 2 the following week or 5 the week prior, or so it kind of balances out. But this is why we go in as a team, and we're not just having 1 or 2 people at a move out clean. It's too overwhelming.
It really is.
You're beat before you even start.
Yeah, it is. It's very mentally taxing as well, because you know how much work is ahead of you. We do. It just depends on the size of the house, really. We have such a wide variety of sizes, so it's probably going to be a team of 2 or 3 for our move outs, depending on it. And then that'll be the only one that, maybe for weeks, because we're so much more of the reoccurring regulars, but move outs for us are just a little icing on the cake when it comes to the revenue. So it sounds like then at most they're getting scheduled for 30 hours a week, or do you have people who are full 40?
No, we don't. Nobody is doing 40 hours a week. It's too much. And we also have a lot of our staff are either students, so they're studying, or they perhaps have another job, which works really well with our business, because sometimes we can be quiet, or we're busy in our other business, so we'll not take on as much jobs, or for other reasons. So, we don't mind that they possibly have another job or they're studying, because it works out really well for us. They're not under pressure to have 40 hours a week, because they have other things happening. That's what we found works really well in our business, is where we're not saying we're going to promise you this many hours a week. They're really happy to do 20 hours a week, and that's why we have a number of staff who, they all have something going on in their lives, but they know that, really our jobs start in the morning. They start at 8:30, 9 a.m. in the morning, and then from, say, majority of the time, 1 to 2 p.m., they're finished for the day. So it then allows them to study, or to have, if they have another job at night, they can do that. So it works well for us, because we don't feel like we have to give, full-time hours, and it works well for them because they have other things happening in their life.
You're preaching, Kate, because that is, I'm so happy you said that. I am such a fan of I had part-timers only for, I think, probably a year and a half. And honestly, I have so many incredible part-time staff members who, they either have another job, or, their life circumstances dictate that 40 does not make sense for them. And like you said, 100%, the pressure is off if they don't expect 40, because it is what happens when somebody does cancel, like it makes it so much more stressful. Right. So I know for a lot of our listeners, they're just starting out, or they just have a few cleaners right now, and you stress about that. Stop. hiring and promising for full-time guys, you can't deliver. Most likely consistently, you can't deliver. And it's also the nature of our industry. Like, it's hard to deliver on that if you're doing residential. Commercial, it's easier because you can consistently build it up, but it's tough to deliver full time. So, and like you said, the physicality of it, like, people think they want to do this, and anytime I've had a cleaner is like, load me up, I need more time. 2 weeks later, they're crying because they're just like broken, and then they quit or whatever. It's like, no, you think you want that, but you don't.
No, and it catches up with you eventually. And it as the business owners who still work in the business to a degree, it catches up with us too. Like, it's really hard to say no to a job and to knock that money back. And you're like, I'll just book another job in, and then the day arrives and you're like, why did I do that to myself? Because it really, it's so, your body and your mind is just so broken, and that's when you start to get sick. That's when you hurt your back. That's when you have injuries, and sometimes your body, the older you get, your body doesn't bounce back. And if you want longevity in this industry, you need to, yes, money is important, but you need to also consider, am I going to hurt myself? Am I going to be able to get through the day? Am I going to be able to do the job to the standard required, and not have customers complain because you can't deliver because you're just too full, you're too busy, you've overcommitted. So it's just finding that happy medium, and it's easier said than done, especially if it's seasonal, where 1 week you're really quiet, and then the next week you have so much work, and you're trying to constantly catch up to make up for any quiet times. So this is why we have our staff on a casual or part-time basis, because they're happy to be called in when needed. But then if they're not, the hours aren't there, it's fine, because they have other things happening as well. So,
do you guys have a slow season? Obviously for us, it's usually January, February. For most of the U.S., I would say, at least, unless you're like Florida or something, I suppose, then it's like, woo, really busy with turnovers. Everybody's vacationing. Is it the opposite for you guys because of when is your slow season if you have one?
Yeah, it's so for us in move out cleans, we always find around March, April, for some reason, it quietens down, and I have no idea why. Like December, January, February is actually really busy for us, and that's our summer. So I don't know, people tend to possibly move more in the summertime, but yeah, March, April can sometimes drop off a bit, but we also do some commercial cleaning now too, which keeps us quite busy.
More steady.
And that's we have those clients every single week, so it's nice to have that backup.
Consistency,
When if it is quiet on one side of your business, that work is there as well.
I got you. Do you have a lot of relationships with like apartment complexes, or I'm just like, I think about somebody trying to come in and they're like, I'm going to focus on move outs. And like the reason I'd suggest not is because of like that inconsistency. So what kind of, I know that you're really big on social media, and I'd love to hear about your social media strategies, TikTok, everything like that. Is that where you're getting clients as well? And if somebody is starting out and is interested in pursuing heavily move out focused cleaning, what would you suggest to them for finding clients?
In Australia, I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but with property managers and real estate agents, you'll be on an account situation. So you'll do the work and then you'll wait to get paid. But generally, the cleaner is the last to get paid. And if there's any kind of dispute between the tenant and the landlord, or tenant and the agent about the property that they're leaving, that could be drawn out for months. So that's why we chose to go direct with tenants, because it just gave us more control over the payments and cash flow of our business, and remove that stress, because it can be an immense amount of stress when you're waiting for thousands and thousands of dollars in outstanding payments to come through, and you've still got your staff to pay. And there's all this money sitting there that you can't get. So, yeah, eventually we moved away from agents. It served its purpose for, the time that we did use agents, and it was fine. But then eventually we were able to go direct to tenants, which, gave us that control back over the money, the flow of money coming back through our business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure that was a relief and definitely something that is good for our listeners to work towards when possible. I would love to hear about the social media strategy you have, if you can give some background on what you guys do on social media, because that has gained quite the popularity and an astounding audience. And I'm sure that has led to many opportunities. So would love to hear about that.
Sure. So, like I said, we've been in business since 2008. So that's when we started our cleaning business. And back then, when we started, we were in Yellow Pages, the book with all the ads in it. And that was costing us $35,000 a year to have two full-page ads in a Yellow Pages book. And it was so restricting. At the time, we didn't know any better. That was what you did. But, you put an ad in, and that ad is there to stay for a whole 12 months. You can't change it. It is only for your local city. And then eventually, we committed all this money to Yellow Pages, and then what felt like overnight, it just stopped working because people were moving away from that form of getting their information, and they were moving to online, and it seemed to happen so fast. We didn't adapt quick enough, so we really felt the pain of having to pay all that money out in Yellow Pages ads and not getting any business in return, and then wondering what's happening. So we very quickly had to move from this, old way of thinking and, get a website up and running, which costs a lot of money back then. You couldn't do it yourself. You had to pay someone to do it. And also Facebook back then was not used for business. It was just starting, and businesses on Facebook were not a thing. Again, that's, we had to adapt really fast and think outside the box, but it did take a few years of really struggling to find our feet again in our business. We started doing video for Facebook well before things like TikTok and Instagram and even YouTube were a thing. We started doing video showing cleaning transformations, also carpet cleaning transformations, and it really gained a lot of traction very quickly. And when I look back on them now, we were one of the first in our area, and maybe even in Australia, doing cleaning transformation videos like this, like 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it kind of evolved from there. And then we got better at making the videos all on my phone. We don't have any special equipment. We still don't have special equipment. We just use our phone. And then things like TikTok came along. We, again, jumped on TikTok, but we really didn't know what we were doing. We were just showing cleaning transformations now, like cleaning an oven. And then we started to show how to do cleaning, because a lot of people don't know how to clean. They were never raised in a home where cleaning was a thing. For anyone that was, you kind of just take advantage that that's normal for you. But there's a lot of people who were never raised or taught how to clean or keep a house in order. And the more we shared and showed people how to clean, what for some people is just a normal thing to know, we realised that there's a whole audience of people who are too embarrassed to ask for help on how to clean something. So they were really tuning into our content. We were having other cleaners tune into our content because they wanted to start their own cleaning business and they wanted to learn how to clean to start their business. So we just organically grew an audience through TikTok and now through Instagram. Facebook was where it started, then we evolved. And from just sharing our knowledge that was second nature to us, showing people how to clean, what products, things like that. It just grew from there. Then it actually gave us a bigger purpose as well. We really felt that we were doing more than just cleaning for our client, which in itself is an amazing job to have. You're really helping people by offering that service. But when you've been in business so long, like, this was my creative outlet. I really felt like I was doing something to help a bigger audience, and that was really rewarding to get that feedback. The more we shared, the more people say, thank you for this content. This is really helping me. I'm not in your city, but now I know how to do this in my own home, or I'm starting my cleaning business, and this has been really helpful. So it gave me a creative outlet, and my husband, and it just, when you've been in business so long, it's like you're just trying to find something to add a bit of extra excitement to your day. And that content, it's growing an audience daily, and that led to opportunities with brands. The brands would reach out to us and ask if we would do paid partnerships, and they would send us their products, we would try them out, and then they pay really good money, or they were last year and the year before, and this that money really helped us to launch our own cleaning products, to go from it's just a dream, and that would be amazing one day, would love to have it. It really was just a dream, and it was like that only happens to other people to be able to do something like that, or people who have a lot of backing or a lot of money. But just from creating content, seeing that there's a real need for this type of content out there, sharing our experience, having brands reach out to us, pay us to talk about their products, that has just opened so many doors for us, and it's all just stemmed from putting ourselves out there, removing ourselves. It's not about us. It's not about Pete and Jack. It was about who can we help with this content. So as soon as we removed that ego and made it not about us, it just opened so many doors. So, if you're in a business and you're looking for a creative outlet, or maybe you're thinking about doing video, just prop the camera up, prop the phone up, and just start filming yourself. It doesn't have to be scripted. It doesn't have to be polished. It's just you being real and sharing. We have so much to give in this industry, and so much value that we can offer to people, but we get the imposter syndrome that, or who would be interested in what the cleaner has to say or something. So it was just,
inspiring when it comes to the product side. But I'm so happy you're talking about this, because everything that you're saying really resonates with what I had those same feelings when it came to putting content out there. Cause from the very beginning, I was recording myself and putting it out on Facebook. And I look back at those videos and cringe, but it was talking about things that I cared about, or I thought about when it came to cleaning. And a lot of times you don't realize who needs to hear that. And I think many times we tell ourselves well, this has been said before, or, there is no such thing as an original thought, if you will, but it's not said from you. And each of us have a very unique perspective and experience. And even just talking to, the podcast guests that I have we're all in the same industry, right? Cleaning is cleaning is cleaning. We're all cleaning houses, we're cleaning businesses, whatever it is that we're doing. But such wildly different backstories and perspectives and experiences, they really shape you. What did you do before this? All of these things make us very unique. And so to our listeners, do not be afraid to share what you think. Don't be afraid to share your perspective, because you don't know, one, who needs to hear that. And you also don't know, as Kate is saying, what opportunities can come from that. So many opportunities have came with me just propping the phone up and talking at it. And, that's why you guys are all listening to this. But literally is because I was sharing. I was going through things and I was sharing what was working, the funny things, the bad things, what mistakes that I've made, and that authenticity and being vulnerable. And I'm glad you said not scripting it, because again, you don't need to be perfect. The imperfection is much more relatable because none of us are perfect. We don't edit out the mistakes or blurbs that we do wrong in this.
Well, the mistakes is what makes it more relatable, and more endearing as well. And, for me, when I've been cleaning for all these years, I would put on my headphones and listen to a podcast. And that's what often would get me through a day. Would get me through an oven clean, it would get me through a job, is putting something on that really inspired me. It made me, because some days in cleaning, it can be really demoralizing. It can be really like, what am I doing? This is exhausting. Where am I going in my life? So
no, for sure. Like I've cried at many cleans of like, what is going on right now? And
you need something. You need to feed your brain. Podcasts and things that can keep you on track. And you may not know what that track is or what that goal is, but it's just keeping your head in the game and not letting you lose focus on the bigger picture, not the thing that's right in front of you, not that oven, not that moldy shower. You get really lost in that work, and you can feel really defeated some days. So having podcasts like this podcast, or anything that resonates with you to help you get through your jobs, to keep you motivated and focused and inspired, whatever your goal is in life. And that's why content. We love doing content, and it's not about us. You've created, Stephanie, this podcast, and it's not about you. It's about the audience, and it's about who you can help and serve, and the message, and that's what content's all about.
Mm-hmm. And I think coming at it from that perspective of keeping that in mind of like, this isn't about you. Even if you're sharing stories about you, there's a goal with this, whether it be to educate, to inspire, to empathize, to make somebody feel like they're not alone. Like these are the goals. And, just talking on motivation of like, you guys think that we're always motivated to get up and get going or whatever. No, you borrow motivation from other people. That is what I love so much about content, is like, it can change the state that you're in, of your mental state. It can completely change it. And that's why literally every day I'm watching YouTube, or whatever I'm doing, even to clean my own dang house. I need to physically put a video on of somebody else cleaning. Yes, I know. It's so much harder to clean your own house when you've been paid for it. It's funny. So what would you suggest, just tactically speaking, the things that have done well from you? It sounds like, yes, very authentic, very personable and from the heart. But like, are these voiceovers of cleanings? Is it a variety of things? Is it you talking through or talking at the camera while you are doing it? And then additionally, being that, this is definitely serving others, but when it comes to getting local clients, like, have you seen that work? Because I have talked to several people where they have a pretty good audience, whether it be on Instagram or wherever it is, but it's not converting to actual cleaning clients for them. So do you have any suggestions on like, how do I get clients out of this mess?
So firstly, with the content, it's a combination, and we've gotten better over time, and we've really found what works for our audience. But again, it's not polished. It is real raw kind of cleaning content, and I think that's why people like it, because we don't sugarcoat it. We are hot and sweaty, and we are on our hands and knees scrubbing, and we will show the good, the bad, and the ugly of the industry, and we'll also show the good parts as well. So it's really relatable content. A lot of cleaners enjoy it because they feel seen in our content. And, with the videos, it could be just propping up the camera of the phone and it just be content of me cleaning, but then I'll do a voiceover where I'm telling a story, or I'm about our journey, or what works for us in our business, or how we work with clients, blah, blah, blah. Other times I will actually demonstrate how I'm cleaning something, and, or how I'm using a particular product and why this product's great and what it does, and I'll talk to camera. So it's, and we just edit through TikTok, or we'll edit through CapCut, and I'm not using any special editing software because I'm clueless on that sort of stuff. But it's just honestly, it's about going to a job and propping your phone up and often forgetting it's even there, and it's just having this bank of content on your phone that you can pull out at any time when you feel inspired to create content. It doesn't have to be, oh, today is a content day and I'm going to do all of this, and that's so much pressure. And we do have days like that now, but it was never like that. It was just, I'm just going to prop the phone up and see what comes of it. And as far as getting clients in our local area from our content, we still find Facebook is the best way to do that, because it's a more local kind of audience we have on Facebook. We do get inquiries now via TikTok and Instagram for cleaning clients, but our focus has shifted because our business has now evolved from the day-to-day cleaning. We still do the cleaning. We do still have cleaning clients, and we still do that, but we're so busy now in our new business that has come from all of this, our Clean Like a Pro products, that we aren't grasping for the clients like we used to. It's really nice to have that now, because we've been desperate for so many years to have cleaning clients and enough cleaning work to keep us and our staff, in business. But it's really refreshing, and it's kind of a little bit unnerving sometimes that we aren't reliant on that like we have been for 13, 14 years. But yes, you can still get your clients through socials. You just have to be very direct with it. Like, I'm on the Gold Coast and we're offering this, or I'm in whatever town and this is the services we offer. You just have to be very direct with your message and your call to action when you do content on, say, TikTok. You can put your location tag on with your content too, so people know where you're located, and it will hone in more on a local audience. But yeah, every social media channel, and it can be very overwhelming, like which one do I focus on? It just depends on your goals. We find that local community Facebook groups can be a double-edged sword. It can be great, and it also can be really not great because of the quality of clients you can get through there who are...
People are ridiculous in those groups.
It's a battle in those groups with every cleaner in the community all vying to get that customer, and it's like who can be the cheapest. So it was good for a certain time in our business, but we rarely go into those groups now, or we rarely even will get recommended, but we're not in there saying, look at us. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's the best one. Like your clients are like recommending you in that, and you don't even have to. Like, that's the ultimate, because then it's like you don't have to get your hands dirty, and they're figuratively.
No. We run Facebook ads again, and we don't have a huge budget for that, or we don't put a huge budget into that. It's just enough to fill our weeks. And that's fine for us at the moment. We're not in growth mode for our actual cleaning business anymore. It's enough where we're at because our focus has shifted, which is amazing that in an industry that it can open up so many doors And for so many years, we were so tunnel vision on one particular thing, thinking this is it, this is all we can do, and it's not going to get better than this. And then as soon as you start doing things a little bit different, and that was content for us, that was getting on video, it opened up doors we didn't even know were there. And it just seems like it's just now this knock-on effect. You know, we open one door and then we dabble in there, or we work on something in there, and then something else opens up. So, yeah, it's just this now feels like we're in momentum, and it's very nice after, you know, a decade plus of really, you know, trying to find our thing in this industry. But every part of the process or the journey has served a purpose at that time, and it's all led to this point, and this point's going to lead to who knows where. So, you know, that's the exciting bit.
Yeah, it is, of just like, you don't know, like, I know that is anxiety and producing in a lot of people, but it's like, I don't know where my business is going to be in 5 years. And that's super exciting. I just, you know, hope it's open still. That's the goal. Right. And, you know, but other than that, it's just like, who knows? Like, we've had insane opportunities come our way that if you had told me when I opened that, hey, in 3 years, this insane thing's going to happen to you, I'd be like, you're the insane one, actually. There's no way, but it's just like doing the right things, putting in the work every single day. And by that, I mean like consistently doing the things that you know are going to move the needle. If you know that you get leads from Facebook, keep posting on Facebook. If you know that you get leads from Google, keep getting Google reviews. If they come through your website, keep making your website better. Keep doing SEO articles. Like, it's just, you guys know, like, trust the data is what I'm trying to say. Don't just be guessing, I guess. And also think about where are your market hanging out? Do you think that dual income couples in their 40s are on TikTok looking for a cleaning company? Probably not. So if you're spending all of your time and slaving away, like trying to get your TikTok up, but it's only other cleaning business owners who are watching you, that's fabulous if you're selling to cleaning business owners, but you're not. You're trying to get clients. So really think about and take a step back, guys. Where's your audience hanging out? That's why it's really important to say, who am I serving, right? Like, who is my ideal client? Because if they're not using that social media, or if they're only using it for entertainment purposes and not to find clients, like then it takes a lot of time. Like, it takes effort to make good content.
And so this is why when we started our TikTok, it wasn't called our cleaning business name. So we have our Facebook, which is called something completely different. That's our actual cleaning business. When we started TikTok, I don't know why I thought this at the time, because I never envisaged where we are now back then when I started on TikTok. I just knew I didn't want it to be about getting cleaning clients. I wanted it to be a bigger something. It was my creative outlet. So that, you know, it was clean like a pro. And because I wanted to help people or teach people and show people how to clean, and it took a lot of time, but that has now paid off. It's paying off now. But a lot of people won't be able to, or don't want to put in that amount of time without seeing an immediate return. And it is really hard when you're trying to juggle a business and create content for something you're not getting an immediate financial return. If you have a bigger vision and you can see yourself doing something bigger, though, than the day-to-day cleaning, you have to put in the hard yards without seeing any immediate result. There's no other way around it. You just have to say, I'm doing this content today. Yes, that means it's an extra half an hour at this cleaning job. That's out of my pocket, not the client's. You know, we clean empty houses, so it's easy to make content. We're not in someone's living room, and you know, so it's you just have to say, well, that's half an hour extra I have to work today. It's going to be an extra half an hour longer at this job, but it's for X, Y, Z. You just have to say that's what it's going to take, and be consistent with it. If your goal is to have something bigger, or different to what you're doing now, requires sacrifice for an extended period of time. But it opens up so many doors.
Yeah, it does. And honestly, especially if that just is what you enjoy, like that like Zen Made Mastermind years ago, I started just making videos showing like other cleaning owners, like, hey, this is what we're doing for X. This is how we do group interviews, right? And I look back at that video, I'm just this little child talking about group interviews, but it's like that I still share it with people. It's still useful, but it was just fun of like, it's really exciting to share like what is working for you. And I'm such an extrovert that like, and I really like connecting with other people. So I have a feeling that you enjoyed that sense of connection, and like being of value feels great. It really does. And so if you can be of value to not only your cleaning clients, but to our fellow industry people, like that is something I do love about our industry. Is though it can be very lonely at times, it also feels very close knit, like weirdly enough. And I think that's because of our like community groups.
Yeah, and that's what I also got from it. We're owner-operator business. We've been, this is our 17th year, so we, a lot of the time, have felt isolated and disconnected and lonely. So for us, the content and connecting with other cleaning businesses or just the general public, we felt connected to people. And it was like having, finally a community that was directly linked to us. And I think it was for so many years we didn't have that. And I never felt like I got that from, say, Facebook, but now, with TikTok, that's what opened up for me. And so I think we've been on TikTok 3.5 years maybe. But, in the beginning, I really didn't take it seriously. I just played around with it, and I posted one week, and then, a month later I might post. I didn't really understand the power of TikTok or the content. But the more I started to see, the reaction, then the more I was encouraged and I felt drawn to create the content. And, so it just depends what your goals are. And if your goal is to have a great client base and to fill your week and make enough income to live your whatever life it is that you want with the actual cleaning, then that's fantastic. If you have another goal that is beyond the day-to-day cleaning, then great. Like, everyone's on their own journey, and everyone's minds will change a million times. So for us, the catalyst, the thing that really changed for us was putting ourselves out there and creating content. I'm an introvert. Mm-hmm. So to do that, to start doing that was really scary.
I bet it was a big growth thing for you too, of just like being like putting that out there and like talking to strangers, because that's what you're doing.
Just being on this podcast is like,
you're just so good. You would never know that you're introverted.
but that's just from so many videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you just kind of put it behind you and go, okay, well, nobody knows what I'm really like, so.
It's like a persona, really,
It is. It absolutely is.
One thing I wanted to mention, just because, Kate, you are in vacant homes. So this is something for our listeners to think about just from a very practical, like liability sense, is that if you're going to be filming in people's houses, make sure in your client guidelines you have a marketing release clause. And so in our client guidelines that everybody signs, it says we can take video and photos for marketing purposes unless they opt out. They need to physically tell us that they do not want us to do that. Yeah. No matter if they do or don't allow it, we always avoid having any personal, like, photos, family photos, any, you know how people have their names on things. Never ever want to have that in video, any pictures of kids, whatever. So just be cognizant of what is around you when you're doing that.
Yeah.
If you do commercial cleanings, same thing. You know, you don't want to be showing anything that could be, private information. So just make sure that you are doing that, as well as our employees. We have them sign a marketing release as well to ensure that we got our butts covered and that they are okay with us taking video of them or putting them on our social media too, because we never want to put somebody out there that is uncomfortable. Right. So it's way easier in empty houses. Like, those are the best. Vacant homes are the best for content because you don't have to worry about any of that.
No. And we still have that on our website, and we still send that in our terms and conditions when we provide quotes that, we may film in this vacant house. Are you okay with that? And we've never had anybody say no, but we always send that out when we're providing quotes. And same with staff. We always make sure, we don't film our staff really so much, but if they do appear in some capacity, they've given permission to do that, to be on that footage. And this is so important because, you don't want your employees to leave and then they say, I didn't allow you
consent to that. Right. Exactly. So just cover your behinds, guys. That's why I just wanted to mention it, because before you go out and film every client's house you have and then not have them agree to anything. Because we have had that, we've had it happen a couple of times where they're like, please don't share the before and afters, even though they're completely anonymous. I think it's just like, they're like, my friends will recognize my house in that, and I don't want to do that or whatever it is. So just be respectful.
We never show the front facade of a house. It's pretty much always, making sure that we don't show, the street or the front or certain things that are. It's more so close-ups of showers or ovens or that sort of thing. But yeah, you really do need to cover yourself, and it's just mutual respect between you and your clients and your staff as well.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So great thing to touch on. So when it comes to your products, Kate, I know that they're super duper like natural, effective. Would love just to hear the variety of products that you have, as well as, is this other cleaners are purchasing this? Is this something that our audience could check out online?
So it's actually April, so a couple of months, and it's 1 year since we launched. And that's been exhausting year, but the most oh my God, I've learned so much. We've both learned so much, and it's been such a buzz this year. But when we launched the products, we wanted to create products that are for cleaners, but also for everyday home. That it wasn't just for cleaners, but naturally we've had a lot of cleaners buy our products and they use them every day in their cleaning businesses. We wanted to launch with a core product that you could go and do a vacate clean, and that's all you needed. It would cover everything, and it would also cover things like mold in showers or really greasy ovens or range hood filters and things like that. So we launched with like 5 core products. But 2 of those were real problem solvers, mold and really built up shower screens. So, it's always nice to have those products in your toolkit as backups in case you do walk into a house and you're like, oh, I need more than just a multi-purpose cleaner here. Mm-hmm. But ultimately we have 5 products, and then we launched another product about 3 months after we had launched our initial products, and that was for like pet odors, and it's a probiotic cleaner. So if you're on septic tank or biocycle tank water, you can put this in your toilets and things like that, and it actually is a septic tank enhancer. So
wow. That's such a good idea, because I've had that where the water literally stinks, like at a client's house.
Yeah, and you're really restricted when you're on tank water on what you can and can't use to clean your house. You can't use antibacterial cleaners. You can't use any kind of bleaches or anything like that. You're very restricted. So we really wanted a product to add to our already, 5 products that were doing amazing, a product for people who are on tank water or septic or biocycle. And that has been one of our best sellers. One, because of that market of people who need that, but it's also great for pet odors. So, cleaning out kitty litters, or if there's been a pet accident on the carpet, it helps to neutralize the odors and get rid of that, that bacteria that causes that foul odor. And that's been one of our biggest sellers. But we have a mix of people who buy our products. A lot of cleaners swear by them now, which is really validating, because we knew we loved them when we created them, and we tested them for months to make sure they were good enough. And we put them through their paces at the worst vacate cleans you could think of. As soon as I would walk into a house and it was like extreme, I'm like, I'm so excited to test out our products here and before we launch them and make sure that they do what we need them to do. And that's how we tested them. We tested them for months at so many vacate cleans, and then we're like, yep, these are good enough, a few tweaks as we went, and it all came from our brains as far as, we didn't engage branding specialists because we didn't have the money to do that. So we really just wanted some bright, colourful, happy, cheerful products that, more cheer, less chore type thing, So, so it's 10 months since we launched, and it's coming up. We're on track to hit 7 figures in our first 12 months from our cleaning product.
Congratulations. That's so exciting. And to hear that you put them through the paces like that, because I've definitely tried products before where I'm like, did they just spend all the money on the packaging because meaning make it pretty, but it's like, this doesn't work. This is doing nothing.
That's right. Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of cleaning products, or there's a lot of aesthetically beautiful cleaning product bottles. But when I look at, or their promotion of it is, they're tested in these beautiful, already clean showrooms. And it's like, what of course it's going to clean? It's already clean. It's already a sparkling, beautiful kitchen. We tested these on our hands and knees, sweating, and, rather than standing in a beautiful, polished kitchen in our beige linen outfits, we were really there in the depth of these, really dirty vacate cleans, and it was so exciting to test them out in that environment and to get the results we did. So, and I think that's why a lot of cleaners jumped on and gave our product a try. They are reordering. We have a huge reordering customer base, is because we tested them in real world cleaning environments, and they do what we say they do.
You literally just triggered a cleaning memory that I totally forgot about for years now. It was years ago, and we were doing a cleaning for the landlord, and she had houses in the college town that we serve. So this was a frat house. And I swear to God that they apparently dropped a pizza in the bottom of the oven and just never removed it, and just continued to bake it into the bottom of the oven. It was the worst oven I've ever seen in my life.
That requires a lot of special tools.
Yes, it does. Yeah. I remember opening it and being like, oh no.
Is that a yes.
Is that a pepperoni? We did 3 move outs in that day. Oh, that was a hell day. Oh God. No wonder I forgot about it. I was repressing it.
Yeah, we all certainly see a lot in this industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Kate, where do you ship your products to? Where can your customers be from?
Well, at the moment, it's still only Australia.
Okay.
We did. We're relaunching New Zealand again in the next few weeks. There was logistic customs issues, but that's all been sorted. So we're relaunching New Zealand, which the Kiwis are really happy about. And we keep getting requests for the US and Canada.
I was just gonna say, can you send me a box?
No, and I'm like, oh, how do we get them there? It's just, so
challenging.
It is. It's challenge. And because it's a cleaning product, because it's liquid, because it's heavy, but we're trying to find ways that we can get our products into more countries. So New Zealand's next, and then we're just,
It's only been 8 months, so I mean, a year from now, I mean, you guys are still that is so wildly impressive in that short of time. So you should absolutely be proud of yourself. And yeah, definitely, whenever they're available, you let me know because I would love to give these a try. Well, we'll definitely link your website, Kate, in the description below. So any of our listeners can go check out the product, especially our Australian listeners, our New Zealand listeners. Would love for you guys to check out Kate's product. Anything else you would like our listeners to know about? Where can they follow you? Because I want to go watch your content, obviously.
So TikTok, clean like a pro. I'll tell you about this real quick. So Clean Like a Pro on TikTok and on Instagram is Clean Like a Pro _ They're our two main channels. And I wear this T-shirt with pride because we are often told we are just a cleaner and to shut our mouths and just do your job. And you don't get to have an opinion. But, we are very valuable in society, and I think cleaners need to really know that about themselves. We're not just a cleaner, or we are just a cleaner. What's wrong with being just a cleaner? So we are helping. We are essential workers, and imagine a world without cleaners. So it would be diabolical. So
cleaning is not a luxury; it's literally essential.
It is. And so don't ever be embarrassed to say you're a cleaner. And there's a big opportunities within this industry. And yeah, you just got to go for it. So
wear it with pride, absolutely, because it's something to be proud of. To do something people can look down upon, but to do it at such a high level, that is something to take pride in. And when I look at my staff, I could sing their praises. They came from, almost all of my staff came from quote unquote professional jobs or careers, and the eyebrows get raised when they switch over to working for us. And it's
and they're making more money.
Yes, they're making more money. They actually see their family. Yeah, no, 100%. I always
make more money than somebody who went to university or has a degree or has a corporate job. They don't like it, and so we need to change that. Well, yes, we deserve every dollar we get, and I'm not going to be embarrassed about the money I make. We work hard and we deserve it. So
absolutely.
If you went to uni, fantastic. If you didn't, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Become a cleaner if you want to make more money.
Yes, no, for sure. And actually have today, visceral, before and after, you made a difference today. You're not just some cog in the machine. You are literally making people's lives better today. And I can't think of anything better, to do with your time. I literally can't. So it's a wonderful profession. And, I say it with pride, and I always will, that this is an amazing thing to do. And I like to, break the stereotypes of what a cleaner is or quote unquote should be. Yeah. And what is possible in this industry as well, because you can become filthy rich as a cleaner. I mean, hence the name of the podcast.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yes.
So I won't be embarrassed about that at all. So Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely check you out, Kate, and link all of your socials down below. Yeah, this has been awesome.
I can't wait to listen to all the other episodes. I'm really happy that somebody's made a podcast like this, and I think it's really exciting for the industry that we have something to listen to and inspire us. So thank you.
Absolutely. That between that and the true crime, you got to have some inspiration between the murder stories. So well, thank you so much, Kate, and thank you guys for watching. Definitely hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit the little notification bell so you know when the new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday. And we will see you in the next episode of Filthy Rich Cleaners. Thank you. Bye.